Mr. Meyer, according to your projections, Metro North and Long Island Railroad are scheduled to have PTC operating on all lines by December 31 of this year. While I appreciate the aggressive schedule, I want to make sure the traveling public has a clear-eyed understanding of the likelihood of this outcome. At this point, can you guarantee that Metro North and Long Island Railroad will not file for an extension from the December 31st, 2018 deadline?
Well, our schedule is a doable schedule, but as I said in my remarks, it is a schedule that has risk. And as we move forward through each stage, we don't know exactly what we're going to encounter. We believe we can have all lines in operation by the deadline, but if we don't, the schedule does allow for, or the law does allow for, an alternative schedule compliance.
Does MTA's schedule compare with the information that you learned in your interviews and analysis?
Quite frankly, it looks a little bit tight.
Mr. Chairman, if I could add, we certainly don't disagree that this is an extraordinarily aggressive and tight schedule, and it has our challenges. That said, at least for our railroads, as we enter revenue service demonstration, it won't be the first time that we've been testing. I mentioned that we're able to provide speed enforcement on both of our railroads, and particularly Metro North Railroad. We have been testing for 2 years, and that's why we're able to incrementally provide speed enforcement. I won't tell you that we won't encounter problems when we add the back office server and we move to full up revenue service demonstration, but it gives us some degree of confidence that other railroads may not have. About
steps are you taking to protect rail workers and the commuters who depend on them from harms caused by undiagnosed sleep apnea?
We set up a program that we believe leads the industry in this. We decided to screen all of our locomotive engineers on both of our railroads, as well as train operators on the New York City subway system. I realize not the subject of this hearing, but that's thousands of individuals. We've been on a very aggressive schedule to do this, to screen thousands of individuals and make sure that they have the treatment that they require. And we'll be having passed through and screened every one of those job titles by the end of May.
What are the steps that you are taking to prevent cyber attacks? And if you cannot provide a complete answer now, you're welcome to respond in the record.
I can certainly tell you a little bit about cybersecurity. First of all, I would point out that PTC is a layer onto the engineer, so it can slow or stop trains, but it is not a remote control capability for trains. So there's a limited protection there just in the basic functionality. That said, the FRA has strict cybersecurity rules for PTC implementation, and I know our railroads are working very hard with Amtrak as we implement a secure PTC solution. Amtrak was the recipient of a grant from the FRA for cybersecurity to development for PTC. The consortium of railroads that are all designing around the Amtrak system are working very hard to ensure that our systems are secure, and we are using industry best practices and NIST-approved encryption to roll this technology out.
Great. Can each of you address how your systems will ensure that the technology installed will be interoperable across technology platforms and rail systems?
The Amtrak has been using its system for a number of years, and so the railroads that interoperate with Amtrak have chosen to develop systems that are based on the Amtrak solution. Now, that's been a challenge. We've been able to use about a third of the Amtrak solution right off the shelf. Another third has needed a major rewrite, and a final third is a complete ground-up software development project. But that said, because we are all based on a common platform, and quite frankly, because our engineers and our technical staff speak with each other on a daily basis, we are confident that we will arrive at an interoperable PTC solution across our different railroads.
I would like a commitment from you that you will meet the 2018 deadline and that Metro North will have positive train control implemented in operation by then.
Senator, first of all, our schedule calls for us to meet the deadline. We believe our schedule is achievable, as Ms. Fleming testified, and as we agree, there are significant schedule risks. But right now, it's our intent and our plan to meet the deadline. I testified earlier that on the railroad that you and I both ride on a frequent basis, we have, thanks to 2 years of testing, we have cut in civil speed enforcement capabilities on all of the Metro North lines, and later in the month we'll be enforcing speed limits, and that's incremental.
You would agree with me that this technology has been proven over the years?
No, sir, it's not off-the-shelf technology. It hasn't been proven. We're proving it every day of the week that we test it and build it.
And what would prevent you from achieving that end-of-year deadline?
Our most important challenges are the delivery of software. There's been a lot of talk here about office software to make the portions of the PTC system that are dependent on software communicate and operate. So our biggest challenge is software, and we also heard some discussion from Ms. Fleming about the time it may take the FRA to approve
This
applications.
system has been implemented elsewhere, correct?
Our operations are very different than elsewhere. We are the densest railroads in the country.
But the same kinds of systems should be applicable regardless of how dense the systems are. Wouldn't you agree?
No, the railroads, although we look very similar, we are extremely different in signal systems, communication capabilities, and operational control.
And are you on a path to completing whatever software issues have arisen?
We believe so, sir. That's a major deliverable from our systems integrator, and we have encouraged them to hire staff. Our own engineers are assisting with them. They are reaching out to programmers around the world and are doing everything that we know how to motivate them to deliver.
Is that the major obstacle to your completing the system on time?
Yes. If we were testifying a year ago, we might talk about hardware and delivery of that, but the main obstacle that we're facing is software and ultimately FRA approval.
What is the average size and complexity of either these PTC safety or implementation plans generally? Can you talk about that?
So our railroads have submitted PTC implementation plans. Our next step will be in the months ahead as we submit revenue service demonstration applications. And as Ms. Fleming testified, they are extremely complicated, long documents, but we are running tests now, collecting data, and making plans to be able to file those applications. We've also had recent interactions with the FRA that's helped us to understand exactly what's going to be required of us.
And can I ask, I know I've heard the narrative that there's plenty of federal funding has been made available to the railroads, and we've heard that today, and we're not making fast enough progress on PTC. Mr. Mayor, would you agree with that sentiment?
Yes, we are grateful for the roof loan sponsored by the FRA in the state of Connecticut and the state of New York. And we have a significant amount of money available to us to complete our work. We've submitted invoices in the amount of about 1/3 of those funds, and we'll draw down and then begin to pay back that loan. Our problem, honestly, is not really money, and more money wouldn't help us move faster. Our bottleneck is, as was just alluded to, the lack of qualified talent, the lack of PTC expertise. Every railroad in the country is looking for that same small pool of talent, and we're working with our systems integrator to creatively tap the talent that exists to help us develop the software that's necessary.
We talked a lot about the role of the FRA in this, and I'm wondering what additional guidance or information, if any, from FRA would be helpful for you as you continue to work to meet the implementation requirements.
You know, as I just mentioned, we have recently received some clarification and some informal assistance from the FRA to help us understand the road ahead for us. It's been very helpful. Our main concern at this point is FRA resourcing to receive, process, and approve our revenue service demonstration application. The time frame is going to be very tight, but if there's anything that this committee can do to help them tap into additional resources, either new hires or perhaps even talent within the Department of Transportation and other modal administrations, that may be helpful.
Anything else to add before we wrap up?
You know, one thing that I would add, and thank you, Senator, is you know, we've heard a lot about commitment. We understand that this committee and the Congress in general is committed to PTC implementation. We heard a little talk about the MTA Board of Directors. I would want to end by pointing out that our Board of Directors is extremely clear that PTC is a very, very high priority and absolutely essential for us to bring online and further provide for the safety of our customers. And that commitment extends to our chairman, our managing director, our 2 railroad presidents, and the entire implementation team. We are working as hard as we can possibly work to bring the promise of PTC into reality.
This hearing is adjourned.